Here's what's happening. A second form of legislation has been drafted by Tennessee U.S. senators in response to hundreds of migrant children being flown into Chattanooga late at night. Senators Bill Hagerty and Marsha Blackburn wrote a letter to the federal government asking about these flights into Tennessee after a Channel 3 report. And they say they still haven't received any answers, so they're taking it a step further. And Mary Frances Hoots is in the studio with more. Mary Frances.
Well, David, according to the written legislation, this bill would require the federal government to consult with state and local officials and provide monthly reports to Congress regarding the resettlement, transportation, and relocation of illegal immigrants in the United States. Now, Congressman Mark Green proposed a bill just 2 days ago that would prohibit the resettlement of refugees in a state that has not given consent to do so. Senator Hagerty said he had not reviewed Green's legislation yet, but supports any and all efforts to seek transparency.
Last week, we reached out to the Biden administration in a letter that very clearly asked for transparency about what's happening there in Chattanooga.
Last Thursday, Senators Bill Hagerty and Marsha Blackburn, along with Congressman Chuck Fleischmann, wrote a letter to the Secretaries of Homeland Security and the Department of Health and Human Services asking for transparency after they learned in a Channel 3 report that 4 planes arrived in Chattanooga late at night carrying migrant children. They say they have not received answers.
The next step is a legislative step.
The Migrant Resettlement Transparency Act would require the federal government to consult with state and local officials before moving illegal immigrants into the state. The bill calls for 3 days' notice before any resettlement, transportation, or relocation. Under this act, monthly state-specific reports would be required, with information such as numbers of those resettled, categorized by age, sex, and country of origin, methods used to determine their ages and familial status, and if they are here on a temporary or permanent basis. The legislation would require this information, along with other details, to be published on a publicly accessible website, some of which you can already find on the ORR's website on a yearly basis.
We are very concerned here in Tennessee. We're taking a leading edge step, and I think you're going to see cooperation across our state at the municipal level, at the state level, and here at the federal level.
Senators Hagerty and Blackburn are seeking answers on where some of these children are in our state. According to the Office of Refugee Resettlement, we know from October through the end of April, 1,111 unaccompanied children were released to a sponsor in Tennessee, 99 of those in Hamilton County, which is 33 more than last month's report. Davidson County has the most in the state with 436. There are 6 total counties in the state with at least 50 or more children that have been released to a sponsor. Now, that data did not include unaccompanied children that were released to sponsors in May, which is when we were made aware of the late-night flights coming into Chattanooga. The data from May will be included in the report at the end of June. Now, this legislation has been referred to the Judicial